Good morning, everyone. My name is Joe Caballero, and I'm starting this broadcast, and I'm going to post it in my Facebook. And the reason that I want to do that, well, there's basically two reasons. Number one, I want to communicate to everyone something intimate or personal about me. Number two, it's part of a self-improvement program that I am putting myself in. I'm gonna do these once a day, and the purpose of this, again, is to inform my friends on Facebook, possibly hit a nerve with someone, tell my story, because I think it's something that I need to do personally. It's for my own personal growth, and I want to share something with all my friends that's changing my life. And at the same time, I'm challenging myself every day when I get up. Look at this video that I'm making, kind of declare it to all my friends, declare it to me, to myself, to my inner self, and reach a goal. And my goal is to really become independently, financially independent. For what? So that I can just be happy. I can have a happier life. I can have a fulfilled life where I'm giving to other people, sharing the things that are changing my life with all my friends, and hopefully they can share it with their friends. I'm going to start by saying that, well, like everyone else who grows up in the United States from a second-generation Latin family, which I consider myself second-generation middle class. My parents came from Puerto Rico to New York to find a better life. My father was disabled for most of his life. My mom was a young mother. She was 20 years old when she came to this country. My father was 26. When they came here, my father could not work because he was very sick, very disabled. My father was a kidney transplantee. He had 3 kidney transplants. So his family and my mother decided to move to the United States, New York, to try and find good health care, good care for my father. But at the same time, my father's family could help us. And my mom, who was a young mother back then, was also looking to better herself. After a long struggle, my mom, who's my hero, decided to go. She only had a 10th grade education. My father couldn't work. He started receiving disability, and my aunts and uncles would help help him paying some of the bills, and would help empower my mom so that she could earn a living, pay all the bills. My father received disability checks, so with that was their entire American dream. So my mom ended working 17 to 18 hours a day, didn't drive, had to take public transportation. We were all young kids. We lived in a slum area because we couldn't afford anything else. And of course, all throughout our upraising, we were taught that in order for us to be better, we needed to go to school, have good grades, learn the language, and learn from everyone else who had this success formula that was basically go to school, get a degree, find a good job, earn good money, and basically that was the American dream. Well, my mom did that. She worked hard in a factory. She didn't do what we were told to do, to go to school and do all that. Obviously, that's what they told her to instill in us, and that's what she did, and my father also. So I grew up in I wouldn't say dysfunctional family, because we were pretty functional. It's just that it wasn't the traditional mom stays at home, dad goes to work. It wasn't like that. I was the oldest, so I had many responsibilities throughout the years, and I was being raised in New York. Those were tough times back then in the early 60s, early 70s, when all the equal rights for minorities was going on, and the riots. When I was going to school, it was the blacks and the Hispanics and the whites. It was all school wasn't segregated. It was mixed, but we still had our little institutions in school. You were Hispanic, you hung out with the Hispanics. Well, anyway, I grew up in that kind of atmosphere. As a result, I mean, we were empowered. We went to school. We did everything that we were supposed to do. But then life has a way of hitting you in the face and hitting a brick wall. Early on, I learned, it's not really that way. You know, you go and get your degree, you go and graduate from college, and you have this degree in whatever it is that you studied. In my case, I was a journalist, writing English, and then I got into some law. But it wasn't what they told me, because, you know, you graduate college and you go get a job, and they were offering you like $28,000 a year. You know, today we look at that salary, but 20 years ago, I guess that was a good salary. But the thing is that, I mean, I did all that. It didn't seem to work. I saw the struggles that my parents went through, but I also saw the successes that my parents went through. My mom, she didn't go to college, but she didn't do too bad for herself. Looking back now, she could have done a lot better, and she could have done a whole lot different things. So, my brother and my sister both went to college, and we didn't finish. Again, because we didn't have all the money and finances that some of the other families had. Like, we didn't have a college fund. We had to pay for our own college. So we didn't finish. I went back to college years later because I started realizing real quick, hey, this thing that they're telling me, it's really not, that's not the way it is out there. So I started thinking, wow, if that's not the way it is, then I got to rethink this whole thing. So I started thinking, wow, you know what it is? I think having your own business. If I had my own business, then I'll really be, out of the ordinary. I'll be breaking away from that mold of being dependent on social welfare and food coupons. And all through when I was growing up, I saw, a lot of the Hispanics and a lot of the minorities that lived off welfare. When I got married, my ex-wife was from Puerto Rico, and she came from a culture in Puerto Rico which pretty much 80% of everybody in Puerto Rico is dependent on welfare. So I married her, and then I kind of saw that culture, and I said, you know what, this isn't gonna work. So I started at a early age in my life, around when I was 21, 22, thinking, wow, the only way that I'm really gonna make it in life is if I have my own business, because I see that working for somebody else, it's really not going to happen. And I didn't go to an Ivy League college, and I can't afford an Ivy League college, and I really have to get I have to be a doctor or something, and even then, I saw people that had master's degrees that were most of them, out of 20 people that I knew that had degrees with titles, only 2 or 3 of them were in jobs that were well paying. Everybody else was doing something else other than what they had their degree for, because they couldn't make enough money in the field that they studied for. And when you get out of college with a degree, you don't have experience. So you got to gain the experience. So you got to come in on the bottom floor and then work your way up. And name I'm not going to say that I don't know people that were successful doing that. But out of 20 people, it was only like 3, 4, or 5. And then when you go on job interviews, you were lucky if you could get a job interview, because during the 80s, we were in a recession and Reaganomics and all that, and there was a lot of people unemployed. So when you went for a job, you were competing with like 20 or 30 other people. And, the better resume, and people lied on their resume. So, that whole corporate world, I was fortunate enough to be working for the company that my mom was working for, and that owner of that company saw that I was kind of an intelligent kid, so he sent me away to school to get special training in the dry cleaning industry, and I got that training, and because I valued that training, because he paid for it, and I went to another state and I studied textiles, and so I valued that very highly, and I thought I had like the holy grail of something that somebody had saw in me, something had the decency to send me away and pay for school. So I thought, how we are raised in our Hispanic culture, you learn to appreciate those things, and if you don't appreciate it and you don't take advantage of it, well, you're gonna make your parents look bad, and they're gonna let you know that they're disappointed in you, because here is this person giving you this opportunity and you're not taking. So I exploited that to its maximum. So I came back, I started implementing a lot of things that I learned, and I came to become a general manager in a corporate setting for one of the largest dry cleaning organizations in the world back then. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I started earning, my income jumped from like about $20,000, $25,000 a year to like $40,000 a year. It doubled. But after a while doing that, I was still working for somebody else. I was making good money back then, I thought, because I doubled my income. So compared to what I was making, yeah. But you know what? I doubled my income, but I still wasn't paying all my bills. I still wasn't, having this. I still found myself struggling the same way my parents did. And, after a while, I realized, yeah, I'm making more money, but the cost of money as years go by, $20,000 50 years ago is the same as $50,000 10 years ago. So even though the number is greater, the buying value is the same as making less money some time ago, because money devalues every year. So, I often speak to customers or speak to them about, business and things. And I have a customer now, one of my clients, he's like 85 years old. And when I go negotiate the contract with him, and I want to be able to pay my employees $10, $11, $12 an hour, he looks at me like I'm crazy. He tells me, do you know that back in the day, people used to work for 50, 60, 75 cents an hour? I can't conceive, Joe, how you pay your people so much. And it's pretty hard to close him on a profitable business venture with him. So I have to look for all kind of ways to sell myself, to sell the value of my company. And even then, I really can't negotiate the price to a point where I can pay my employees today in 2017 what I was getting paid back in 1988, 1990, 1992. In 1992, I was making double what any of my employees make now. So it makes me feel kind of frustrated that I cannot, with my knowledge and with my wisdom that I have in business, because eventually I did uh, uh, make my own business and learned how to conduct business, and I failed at it 3 times. And I can't today offer my employees anything much better in value that my own parents in their time could offer me when I was dependent on them. And that's sad. It makes me feel sad. So knowing that, and I want to finish telling you my story. Over the years, I did go into business. I had my own dry cleaning store. I traveled around. I became a consultant. I was good at it. But then I got away from that industry because I had a health concern. And because of the chemical that I was working with was considered a carcinogen, and I was around that chemical a lot, I said, wow, if someday I'm going to get cancer if I stay, working near this, so I need to learn how to do something else. And, I'm learning that with great adversity comes comes a greatness. It brings a greatness out of you. So after being in the dry cleaning industry for so many years, and I was making money, my last job in the dry cleaning industry, I was making about $60,000 a year, and I thought that was like, wow. One day, my ex-wife, she comes up to me and she says, Joe, I was talking to somebody, and my wife was working at a dry cleaner, one of my friends. And he goes, Joe, I just talking to a guy today, he speaks perfect English just like you. But he's making over $100,000 a year. How come you're not making $100,000 a year? And so I started thinking, man, why are you talking to that guy? First of all, why are you having a conversation about his private income? Nobody talks about that. How did you get to that conversation? I'm thinking at the back of my head, wow, shoot, my wife doesn't feel secure. I mean, here I am struggling, working 50, 60 hours a week, and, and making 60 grand a year, and that's not enough for her. Wow. So, that stayed in my mind. So, I started looking for other things to do, and I got a second job. But shortly after that, I became unemployed. Had no work, first time in my life, and I was collecting unemployment. So, 3 months went by, and I had no work. I don't know how we got through paying the bills because my wife was working at the time, but my wife got me an interview they were building the Hollywood Casino here in Florida. It was the first casino that was being built after they had voted to allow casinos here in Florida. So because I was out of work, my wife got me a card and told me, look, this lady is hiring at the casino. Go and apply for a job there, So I went. When I went, there was 15,000 people applying for jobs. And that I didn't know about. I had to wait in a line that went around the block, blah, blah, blah. Make a story short, long story short, I went, I interviewed. I wasn't particularly looking for a specific job. I just wanted a job. And I was applying for an $8 an hour job, But I took my resume. Luckily, I kind of know how to talk well and present myself well. So I spoke to the lady there, and she asked me the questions, whatever. Went through the whole interview, looked at my resume, and she goes, "Oh, okay, you're just the perfect person that I'm looking for." Yeah, okay. Yeah, you start in 20 days. You come back, do your fingerprints, blah 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 blah. Well, I guess I was just so focused on just getting a job that after the interview process, I didn't even know what job I had applied for. I didn't know what I was going to do. The only thing I cared about is that I had a job. So I show up 20 days later, and when I show up, the lady tells me, well, you're the supervisor for the janitorial department, public areas. You're going to have 135 employees, and you need to organize all of the cleaning for all of the casino. Well, I had never done anything like that in my life. I don't know how this lady recruited me for that job. Well, the thing is that so I didn't know anything about cleaning, but I knew a little bit about what the cleaning department did, because in the dry cleaning business that I did for so many years, I worked with hotels, and I had the opportunity to work with some hotels that were in the gaming business. So I had that resource, so I called people and I asked, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I just went and did it. And I depended a lot on the vendors who had, information, whatever. Anyway, I took the job. I was in charge of 135 people. I did that job for about three to 4 years, and I learned it. I learned how to do it well. I learned how to train the people, how to clean, proper production. Because of my experience in the dry cleaning business, which was a very service, hands-on, labor-oriented business. I mean, I got real good at efficiency and training, because I learned in the dry cleaning business, in order to run a business properly and compete and make profit, you had to run a very, very tight business. And one of the major successes in the dry cleaning industry was the people, because it's a people business. I mean, you can't do anything at a dry cleaner if you don't have someone doing something. Ironing, cleaning, spotting, tagging the clothes. It requires people. It's not something you can do by yourself. Service-oriented, labor-oriented business. And the costs are very high. So I learned how to run a tight business. I also learned that you have to lead people, you have to train people, and you have to show them how to do everything. So I was real hands-on, and I carried that into my new career, which was in the janitorial cleaning business. So I did that for 3 or 4 years, but I still was thinking, you know what? I'm still working for somebody. I need to start my own business. So one day, one of the vendors that was working for me came and asked me, hey, I want to get more business here. Is there any way you can help me? And I said, what do you do? Well, I'm the guy that supplies you all the temporary labor for the casino. So we started talking, we became friends, and I started asking him a lot of questions about how he was doing the business, whatever. We became really good friends. And it so happens that I was the guy in charge of screening the companies, because the casino was looking for outside vendors to do subcontract work in some of the janitorial responsibilities for the casino. So it was my job to look for the company, make the recommendation, and I became friends with this guy. So I recommended his company to go work for the casino. And long story short, I ended up quitting my casino job and going to work for this guy, with the promise that eventually I would become a partner, or I would open my own company and he would help me do it. Well, I did that. Was very successful at it. We grew the company. Mind you, I left a $60,000 a year job for the promise of opening my own business, and my compensation was $25,000 a year. So I left $60,000 to go work for $25,000, and because I wanted my own business, and I knew that if I had my own business, I pretty much was going to raise my income, or have more control over my income and my destiny. Well, I did that, and I became pretty successful at it. I was managed to close $2 million accounts, which we started, and the experience that I had with the casinos, and that helped me get these other accounts, because it was another 2 casinos. We grew that company to about 400 employees. And that lasted for, for a business cycle of about 6 years. Was making a lot of money. But you know what? I still wasn't financially independent. The more money I made, the more I spent. I didn't have money. After 6 years, the contract started to end, and because bigger companies got into the arena, other companies, they outbid us. They just were able to do more with less, and we weren't able to, and we lost some of those contracts. And I saw myself unemployed again, and I managed to keep like one account. I went from making $320,000 a year to having $1,600 income every month from one account. So for the last 9 years, I've been building myself back up from that disaster. Again, I'm a business owner. That $1,600 account became $25,000, $30,000, but I'm still not financially independent. I've given up a lot of things over the years in the quest for maintaining my businesses. I lost my marriage, lost my houses, cars, all my possessions, and today, 9 years ago, when we lost everything, I had nothing to show for being the owner of a company that was doing $7 to $8 million a year. I don't have anything to show that I bought or invested from any of the money that I had from that particular time, because I didn't know. Over the years, I don't know how to manage money. And I've had money, and I've made money. I know how to make it, but I don't know how to keep it. And that brings me to the story of what I'm doing now. And 2 months ago, I got recruited from a friend of mine who got into what I'm doing now. And at the time, thank God, over the last 9 years, I've grown my business. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to punch a clock every day. I could just stay in my house all day long, and I'll make money. Now, is it enough? It's not enough. I owe. I have some debt. I don't have a lot of debt. I paid off a lot of debt, but I'm not where I want to be financially. For a guy that owns a business, for a guy that doesn't have to go to work, I sometimes I don't have enough money to pay all my bills. Now, of course, you have the responsibilities of running the business and paying your employees and all that. But I also am not investing my money anywhere. So anyway, she recruited me. And my life has changed. It's changing ever since she recruited me. Because I got recruited to a company that they're dedicated to showing people how to manage their money. Their company mission is to make everyone who uses their products or becomes affiliated with them, they want to make everyone financially independent. Now, it's funny because I have never been around, I've been around people that have money, but not like on the other side. If I've always been trying to sell them and me like getting the scraps off the table. And none of those people ever gave me any advice as to how to manage my money. They would give me advice on how to do the service, how to provide better service for them, and for them to pay me less money so that I would make less money. So it was always a negotiation. We're negotiating contracts, and I want to make this much because I want to pay my employees this much so I can have this much left over and cover the expenses. And of course, their job has always been trying to get more value for less money. So they've always been on the other side. In the last 2 months, I've met people who are millionaires. I've talked to people who are millionaires, and it's the funniest thing. These people want me to become a millionaire just like them. Now, I've never met anybody who wanted to have a one-on-one conversation who was interested in me being as successful as they were. I'm also a part of a group where the head guy, or the lead coach as we call him, he's making $40,000 a month. He's 35 years old. 2 years ago he was making $28,000 a year. Today, 2.5 years later, he's making over $40,000 a month. That's just one guy. I know another girl who's works directly with me who's making $10,000, $11,000 a month. She's been doing this for 6 or 7 months. And there's another person. These are all real people that I talk to every day. They talk to me every day. Another girl who's making $20,000 a month. Another person who's making $8,000, $9,000 a month. That's just on one aspect of the financial spectrum. The other thing that they're doing is they're managing their money, because one thing is what they get paid. The other thing is what they're having their savings. They are able to take money and put it away and grow their money. My friend, who's the coach of the team, he's making over $200,000, $300,000 a year, but he has $90,000 in one investment, and he has like four or five investment accounts, and they're each one. He's got one with 30,000, one with 10, one with 15. You know, I used to make more money than him, and I have none of that. Okay, so the reason I'm making this video, and we're getting to the end of it, is because, you know, I've been talking to a lot of people, and I tell them my story. It's too long to tell, but I kind of, you know, summarize it. And I tell them the story of the other people that I'm working with, that you know, it's a success. It's a lot of success. I went to the home office. I saw that this was a real company. You know, and I talk to people all day long about managing their money, about showing them how to get out of debt, how to protect their families, how to not take your money to the bank where they pay you less than 1% interest, and then they take your money, invest it in the global market. They get paid 12, 13, 14, 5, 6, 7, 8% interest, but when they give you your interest, they only want to pay you less than 1%. And I talk to all these people, and I tell them about this, and I say, so, you know, wouldn't you think it's better to put your money somewhere where you're going to get back 12, 8, 5, 6%? Say, yeah. So why do you have it in your bank? So if I can show you a way to do that, would you do it? And then, yeah, until the part where it takes a personal commitment, where you have to pay like $99 to join. People won't do it. And I don't understand. And so that's why I'm making this, because there's a lot of things that I'm doing. I'm changing my life. I'm becoming a better person. I'm reading self-help books. I'm learning how to manage my money. I'm learning how to become a better person. I'm learning how to become a better leader. Because all these people that I'm with, in order to make the money that they're making, they have to convince other people about this. They have to help other people become disciplined. Let me tell you, up until a couple of weeks ago, I mean, I would have problems getting up out of bed. My day wouldn't start until 12 o'clock. And maybe somebody who's listening to this tape out there knows what I'm talking about. You know, you get depressed, you're not happy with your life, everything sucks, You know, your alarm clock goes off. You say, I'm going to sleep 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes becomes another hour. Then you get up, you have no energy, you don't want to walk anywhere. You know, you say, how many times do you say, the January comes around and you make a promise for that year that you're going to lose weight, or you're going to go to the gym, or this week I'm going to, and I'm going to start working out. I'm going to get on a diet. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to start changing. I'm going to change this. You think about it, but you don't act on it. And you never go to the gym. And you don't do anything. And your day goes by. Or you have to get up and you go to work, and you're at work and you're looking for ways to do less work, and you're looking for ways to fill up the hours. You're not really productive. I was that way, and I'm starting to change that. So that's what this business is doing for me. I make money. I don't need this business to make money or pay my bills. But what I like to do now, because I wasn't happy with my business. Even though I have my own business, I'm a slave. I was a slave to my business until I put a person to run my business, which took a big chunk of my profit, and I have to live with less. And now every month I have to watch the profit, because if we have a low selling month, I make less money and I don't have money to pay all my bills. The other thing is, even though I have my own business, I depend on my customer's business to run my business. So I don't have any control over my customer's business. So if he does something different that makes his sales go down, then I'm pretty much at risk. And the risk now is more because I'm responsible for about 17 to 20 lives, which I have to pay. And I have to pay them to work. And I have to pay them first. So whenever the business doesn't produce enough money, I have to pay everybody, and I get paid last. Sometimes it's not enough for me to get paid. So that is not a happy situation for me, which is one of the reasons why, for the last 4 years, I've been very fortunate, and the business has always kept going up. But I know, being in business the years that I have, and I'm sure you're going to know this too, that those business cycles, they come to an end. They don't last. And eventually, things are going to change. I haven't been able to grow my business because if I'm home sleeping, and if I'm home and I'm saying tomorrow I will go and look for a new customer, and that never happens, that never comes, because there's nobody pushing me. There's no reason for me to go. I'm in my comfort zone, and it's been very hard to get out of it. And that's what this company is doing for me. It's getting me motivated. It's getting me to have a different mindset in life. It's getting me to manage my money. I have a lot to go. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video and share it was so that I can share my growing with all my friends. And so that you can kind of challenge me. This could be a double-edged sword. Over the years, there are people that I haven't treated right. Okay? And I don't do that on purpose. But business mindset, the wrong mindset that I've had, the struggles that I've had. You try to be nice to people, but sometimes people don't return it. You being the owner, everybody thinks that you have all the money, and they don't. People get into this situation where they kind of, it's like a love-hate relationship. Yeah, we love him because he pays us, but I hate him because I have to go work for him. So I hate being in that position. I really want to do something where I can make a difference in people's lives. And I want to get out of the situation where I don't want to have people working and not be able to give them any more money because my business doesn't grow. I want to take those people that work for me and put them in my new business so that they can have prosperity, so that they can become financially independent. That to me is more, if I can do that for somebody, that's more fulfilling. And I know if I can help somebody do that, it's because I've done it for myself. And it kind of keeps you in check. And it was one of the reasons why I'm doing this video. A lot of people are wondering, what I'm doing for the last 2 months, because I've kind of fell out of the social scene, going out dancing and drinking and hanging out with the buddies. I haven't done that in the last 2 to 3 months. I'm a single guy. Right now I'm not even focusing on my single life. What's important is to get things together and build something that's going to be lasting, because everything I've built in the past, I've had much success, but it hasn't lasted. And what do I have to show for it? I have nothing to show for it. It's nobody's fault but my own. Whether I have businesses, and it's nobody's fault but mine. But it's done. So I got to change that. And the company that I'm with now, I want to give a shout out to everybody that I'm going to be calling some of you. I'm going to be asking some of you for an opportunity to show you my business. I'm going to give you an opportunity to take control of your money. I'm also going to be giving you an opportunity to, if this is not for you, because sometimes you don't get it, or sometimes we have all these fears inside that we don't want to do it, or we don't think we can do it, or we don't think we deserve it. That's fine. I mean, I'm going to keep you on the backbone, and you're going to watch my videos. I'm going to tell you the things that I'm doing. This is going to force me to be successful, because I'm exposing myself and declaring myself to all my Facebook friends through this video. I have to be successful. And you can be the devil's advocate and make some comments and tell me that I'm crazy, or maybe you can offer me some names of people that you think might want to become part of what I'm doing, and somebody that may really need it, has no other choice. Or sooner or later, if you're hearing this and you're saying, I know what it is, I kind of know what it is, I don't want to do that, it could be a time where you could change your mind, because there's been plenty of times where I said I will never do that, and I've had to change my mind, and I've had to go do that. I've had to put my ego to the side, because ego doesn't make you money. Not at all. Knowledge helps you understand how to make money, but knowledge doesn't make you money either. It's all about your attitude. It's all about your personality. It's all about learning something and putting it into action. And that's one of the problems that I've had. It's one of the biggest problems that we all have, is that when we learn something or say that we want to do something, we got to put it into action. So I want to thank you. If you've listened to this video, it's probably too long. I'm going to have to make shorter ones, but it's the first one. If you took the time to listen to it all the way to the end, please make a comment. Send me your negative comments. Make fun of me. Give me your opinion. Tell me I'm dumb. Tell me that I don't look good on camera. My nose is bigger than my face. I don't know. Whatever. Give me a comment. I want to know what you think. Have a good day, everyone. Please stay tuned for my next video. Could be, I'm gonna start having some informative videos, or maybe I'll strike a nerve and you'll disagree with me, or you'll want to show me and correct the errors of my ways. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.